close to the heart of the matter of this notion of confirmation, affirmation, is this conviction that we are the recipients of pieces of God. It sounds just like so crazy, but that's the idea. Like the DNA of God is in us, but not all of God. Like I have shards of God, little elements of God. And in our Catholic imagination, one of the words we use for that is charism, which is like a particular gift that we have been bestowed by God. And that we all have different gifts. And that's sort of where St. Paul's thing comes on. Like, hey, you're a kneecap, I'm a fingernail. And you need fingernails, you need kneecaps. What are you going to do if you were like all kneecaps? Very awkward. And, you know, I like fingernails, but you wouldn't want to have that be your entire being. And so our body is made up of different gifts. And then Paul goes on to say, like, when we have different gifts, there's people that can preach, there's people that can organize. So the idea is that all of us are the recipients of these gifts, especially touched by God. And then there's two elements here, three. One is to recognize those gifts. One is to craft or develop those gifts. And one is to give those gifts away in the service of life and love. And to the extent that we do those three things, then we have a vocation. You know, Jim and Evelyn Whitehead talk so simply about vocation. Your vocation is who you are happening in the world. It's such a beautiful definition. And you've heard me use this quote, but there's a reason for it because I love it so much, by Mary Fry. When you watch someone you love doing what they love, you love it. You know why? Because when you watch someone you love doing what they love, there's energy. And where there's energy, there's God. And where there's energy, God has a chance. You know? It's almost like simple. And so it's this rhythm of receive mercy so that you believe you're worthy of receiving gifts. Take on mercy so it occurs to you like, well, if I am loved, which is sort of what mercy suggests to us, then I guess I'm worthy of gifts from God. And having received those gifts, and not like, you know, the pious version and, you know, the gifts of the Holy Spirit that we receive at confirmation. I'm not suggesting those are irrelevant or like ridiculous. I just think they're sort of two-dimensional and that they don't really reflect the myriad of gifts that we receive. You know, somebody in your family's organized. Somebody in your family can cook. Somebody in your family can sing. In this church, in this world. And so we need each other's gifts in order to flourish. And then what happens when we give those gifts away generously and creatively, it's like our lives expand. We're not less because we've given the gifts away. We're more alive, we're more full, we feel more satisfied. On one level, it's simple, but you know, just beneath all simple things is complexity. And so, in order to get to the simple, you have to like fight through like mercy. What are my gifts? How do I cultivate them? Who would I give them away to? That's not easy, but simple and easy are not the same thing. So if you do the work necessary to host mercy, which allows you to remember that you are worthy of receiving specific gifts from God to you and to me, and then cultivate those gifts, and then give those gifts away. I was having lunch with a friend today, and I happened to have just written a really brief card to him. And he opened it up and he read it. He's like, "How do you do this, man?" It's like, I don't know. You're good at this. And I don't want to brag or nothing. I am very good at finding cards and writing notes on cards. You know, I mean, there are people that have my cards on their refrigerator, in their Bibles, stuffed under mattresses, in their car, in the glove compartment. You know, it's sort of an odd gift to have. Well, and actually, there's a very low bar because nobody writes cards anymore. So I'm pretty much, I can write anything. People are like, oh my God, a card, a letter, an actual letter. Martha, I got a letter, you know, with a stamp. You remember stamps, and then you address it, and then somebody puts it in a thing. So listen, I can write anything. People are like, oh my God, this is great. But seriously, I love to write cards. And when I finish writing a card, I think there's a little bit of me in the card. And I think there's a little bit of God in the card because it's one of my gifts. I can't balance a checkbook. I can't find Google Docs on my computer. Like, what? Google Docs is at a boat? Like, I don't show up on time. But I write a really mean card. And I want to give that gift away as generously as possible. When I die, I'd love to know that there are TNJ cards tucked all over the place. Yeah. Confirmation, affirmation. We're worthy of God's gifts. We receive those gifts, we recognize them, we name them, and we cultivate them. And then we intentionally give them away in the service of life and love. And then there's more God in the world. Very simple and very complex. Yeah, so that's what I'd say about that.